Ready to go. So we have a new trial starting, and if you have not heard of what's going on with this Nicholas K trial, it is absolutely insane. So we're going to give you a little bit of a background of what's going on with Nicholas Kasotis. Hopefully I said his name right. We're going to hear it a couple times throughout the trial, and what's alleging that he did to his ex-wife, or to his, well, current wife, or what was his current wife. I don't know how to say. Either way, absolutely crazy story. We're going to go ahead and get into it. Court TV did a great job of summarizing this for us, and then we'll look at some documents of what was actually found while they were researching this case. Check it out.
Deer hunters in Riceboro, Georgia, found the torso of a nude, headless woman deep in the woods of a local hunting club. This was months before the victim, Mindy Kasotis, was identified by her husband, Nicholas Kasotis, and he is the one that's facing multiple charges, including malice murder for the dismembered wife murder trial. That's what we're calling it.
All right, Court TV legal correspondent Kelly Craft joining us live in studio with all the details that's happening there in South Georgia, this murder mystery. Kelly, get us caught up on this one.
Well, hi there, Matt and Julia. So this case, it begins in Liberty County. So this is about an hour south of Savannah, Georgia. Now, hunters who were looking for a deer that had run off after being shot discovered the remains of a headless woman. Her legs also were missing. As deputies searched the property, they found the victim's remains scattered within a 3 to 4 mile radius across 3 counties. The injuries were described as sharp force injuries to the head and abdomen, likely inflicted by a knife.
She was sliced up.
Kelly, really shocking details, especially in light of what we're watching right now with the Shade Robinson and the sentencing of Maxwell Anderson. But tell us how the investigators actually figured out who this victim was if you had only the torso that was located.
So the Georgia Bureau of Investigations created 2 composite sketches of the woman that was found in the woods, and then they described her as being an unidentified white female that they believed had been left there sometime in mid-November 2022.
Wow,
the victim had no scars, marks, or tattoos, but she did have a single tooth implant, maybe a crown, and that was located in her upper right jaw. They also found some clothing nearby, and at some point police did get a DNA sample from Mindy's family, and that provided the match and positive identification. So investigators then announced on May 11th that the unidentified female was Mindy Kasotis, and her husband Nicholas was arrested the next day. This was in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. At this point, we don't know why he was there, but he was extradited back to Georgia. He was granted a $5 million bond that he has not been able to raise.
Well, it's alleged that the reason he was there is because he was on the run from a divorce that he was going through, which is wild. Apparently, and we'll find out more about this as the case goes on, Nicholas owed his ex-wife, his other ex-wife, $1.5 million. So he was on the run, and his now past wife was on the run with him, and he didn't want to pay up the $1.5 million that he owed his ex-wife. So it's being alleged that that's the reason why he was in the area or passing through that area. Either way,
he has been in custody since his arrest.
Wow, horrific details on this one. Kelly, thank you so much. I know you're going to be staying on top of it for us. What do we know about Mindy and Nick, their relationship? What can you share?
You know, Matt, that's a good question, because when we cover these cases, we like to delve into the background and try to figure out the whole family dynamic. So what we know about Mindy is that she was 40 years old. She was Nicholas's second wife, and according to their wedding announcement, they married in 2016, and they got married in Leesburg, Virginia. She was a writer, also a businesswoman, and they were living in Savannah when she was killed. Nicholas Kasotis' attorney with the judge, Nicholas Kasotis was an attorney. So this man was an attorney. He was a JAG attorney, so for the Navy, so the Judge Advocate General Corps. He also wrote under the pen name Nicholas Killian James Stark. And prosecutors say that Kasotis owed his first wife, Heather Thomas,
and when they say he wrote under that name, he is also an author, which we'll get into at a later point as well, because some of his works are they're attempting to introduce this evidence. Guys, this case is crazy.
$5 million judgment after their Kasotis owed his first wife, Heather Thomas, a $1.5 million judgment after their divorce, and they want Thomas to testify for the state as part of their case against him. His defense attorney was in court last week arguing against that, but according to local station WJCL, it sounds like the judge is considering allowing her to testify. So her testimony will be quite compelling, I'm sure. And prosecutors are also trying to introduce evidence of Kasotis remarrying just weeks after Mindy was killed, and of buying some items for personal protection when you're engaging in activities, and also he bought some Old Spice at Target. Jury selection is set to begin on Monday in the dismembered wife murder trial.
So not only are the prosecutors alleging that he did this, but they're saying just a few weeks after she was killed, dismembered, that he got married again to a third wife. So he divorced the first one, was on the run from her because he owed her $1.5 million, allegedly. Then he allegedly sliced and diced the second one, and she was gone. And then a couple weeks later, he married another one. Not only that, but as you heard, he was an attorney at one point, an author, somewhat decorated in the military. This story gets wild. Check this out.
December 2nd, 2022. Deer hunters in Riceboro, Georgia, find the torso of a nude, headless woman deep in the woods of a local hunting club. Investigators found the rest of her remains scattered within a 3 to 4 mile radius across 3 counties. The Georgia Bureau of Investigations released composite sketches of the unidentified woman in hopes of giving her a name. 5 months later, on May 11, 2023, police announced that they found the remains of Mindy Kasotis. They used DNA from family members to make the positive identification. Mindy Kasotis was 40 years old when she was killed. The day after her remains were identified, her husband, Nicholas, was arrested in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Wow.
So this case, as the court knows, is incredibly gruesome in a way that I believe will create additional trauma.
Nicholas Kasotis, who is also known by the alias Nicholas Killian James Stark, was extradited back to Georgia and charged with malice murder, aggravated assault, and removal of human body parts from the scene of death. Prosecutors say in the months before Mindy's death, she and Nicholas were on the run because of an outstanding $1.5 million judgment.
That's a lot of money.
To his first wife, Heather Thomas.
Its motive for him being on the run. It explains this story started all because of this.
Local station WTOC was in the courtroom when his attorney argued that the money was not the motive, but that a mystery man named Jim McIntyre was involved.
There's Doug
with
Weinstein.
the case.
Jim McIntyre, whether clearly that wasn't his real name, absolutely exists. They were living, moving every few days, few weeks, few months at the control of this person that we'll just keep calling Jim McIntyre.
Nicholas Kasotis has pleaded not guilty.
Wow.
If he is convicted, he could be sentenced to up to life in prison.
And if you guys want to see real quick, here's the indictment showing what counts he's facing. We have count 1, malice murder. Count 2, felony murder. Count 3, aggravated assault. Count 4, concealing the death of another. So he was hiding, allegedly, the body parts. Count 5, possession of a knife during commission of a felony. Count 6, possession of tools for the commission of a crime. Count 7, possession of tools for the commission of a crime. Count 8, the same thing. Count 9, the same thing. What are all these tools we're talking about? Count 10, possession of tools for the commission of a crime. Again, these are all felonies. And then count 11, removal of body parts from the scene of death. What? And that's a misdemeanor. Jesus. Can y'all believe count 11 is a misdemeanor? You remove body parts from the scene of death. We'll write you a ticket. Count 12, tampering with evidence, also a misdemeanor. As I said before, this is going to be a wild one. We still have a lot of information to get into, and this is just the beginning because we haven't even talked about his career as an attorney. Some of his writings, it gets interesting as well. This is going to be a wild one, so make sure y'all stick around. If you haven't yet subscribed, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any time we go live. Let me know what you think about this in the comments and in the chat.